Morning.
We don't make pens with laser. These are just a giveaway. The laser's used for like part marking. So like serializing stuff.
I'm Evan Perkins with Hot Rod Magazine, and I'm here with John McLeod of Classic Instruments. We're here to talk a little bit about what you guys have going on at PRI 2016.
Perfect. How's Evan today?
Evan's good today. How's John?
I'm doing great, thanks. Really glad and proud to be at PRI. First time PRI people, so it's exciting for us.
Good. So I think a lot of people know you guys as a great manufacturer of really classic-looking gauges, but it sounds like you've made a shift and you're doing something new. So could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, just like every new product, it starts off with an interesting story. And I was racing out in Bonneville. George Poteet gave me the opportunity to drive one of his cars, which got me to Saltbug. And so we're out there racing in Bonneville, and we started to see some needs. And then, if you're familiar with Bonneville, they had to hit certain miles per hour points to get their license, and everybody was reading their tach on how to do that. It just kind of got me thinking about, well, what could we do? You know, we're hot rodders, but this is a performance world, and so we developed the first speedometer that had a trigger through our GPS technology that we won at SEMA show. And so we took that technology to where it could hit the trigger points for the driver, so they didn't have to sit there and stare with it. Safer for the driver.
Sure.
A little bit of technology for us. And so that was really our first performance gauge and really got the team to looking at it a little bit more serious.
What a neat connection. I mean, there's such a rich history between hot rodding and salt racing, and to take that and then turn that into your performance line of gauges, it just seems like such a natural fit.
It was, and it was exciting. And I'm racing. I have been racing. I raced early at Fiat front engine cars, so I was doing some nostalgia comp racing, and then got into stock eliminator racing. So I started to meet more people, and again started questioning these people. What's missing in the gauge industry for racing? And so we just found out that there was some opportunity to take our technology of reliability, readability in our instruments, and the biggest thing was flexibility. And so we took the technology we have of the custom gauge world and put it into racing. And the racers are just like anything else. They want theirs to do something that's very important. It has to monitor the engine, and then they got to be able to read it. So we took all that information. Jason Line, who's Pro Stock champion this year, is also a good friend, and Kyle Tucker, who we know from Detroit Speed Engineering. I went to them, both different racing, what they were thinking about, and said, what's needed? So we started with the list, and 3 months ago we launched over 3,000 new products, and Summit Racing put all 3,000 products online instantly. And we can show you a few options that we have that is unavailable to anybody else.
Yeah, let's check out some of the stuff that you guys have here at the show.
Yeah. We developed a new bezel. That was one of the first things when we talked about readability. You have to be able to read the gauge, but you have to be able to see it inside the cockpit of the car. So we really worked close. I took some scuba technology on a mask and what makes you be able to see. And we took that technology and developed the bezel. Tom Gale, the Senior Vice President of Chrysler, designed the Viper, the Prowler. I brought Tom in and helped us design a bezel. So now we have two different color bezels available for all the 2 5/8 gauge, which we never had before. So we added the 2 5/8 gauge, which is a little bit bigger, more readable. Again, the racers got kind of concentrated on what he or she's doing, whether it be salt or drag racing or Baja. And so a little bigger gauge was something that's more focused on being able to read.
And I have to ask, so the matte black and the brushed aluminum, great looking stuff. Is there a little bit of a crossover from chrome is beautiful in a hot rod, but it's also really sparkly when you're trying to go down a racetrack?
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head. It has to be matted a little bit so you don't get those reflections. Whether you're some night racing or day racing, that was definitely a mindset to that.
Sure.
The warning systems that we put inside all the gauges That's something that we wanted to add, and the racers said that they'd like to see some type of warning device. So we put high and low warning devices in every gauge.
Great.
So that's something that our ZST technology. But we also had an outlined line, as you can see on the small one. If they want to add yet another warning device that's closer to their eye, you can also put a warning device outside of the gauge and run both warning lights.
So that's great for low oil pressure warnings or peak coolant temperature or any sort of parameter that could potentially cause harm to an engine or a vehicle.
Correct.
Great.
And then another thing that one of the biggest pieces that we learned about was data logging, which in the hot rod industry, data logging, we don't need data logging.
Sure.
And so as we talked with the data logging folks, what they have to do is cut the lines or they add another sending unit. Well, again, with the ZST technology that we have 4 patents on, we were able to actually put that and build it into every gauge. So now the wire comes out of the back of our gauge for data logging, and it just plugs right directly into a data log, whether it be race pack, fast system, whatever it is. It's a direct plug, and you're done. Less hassle, less places to go wrong, and it much easier.
Less wires, too.
Less wires.
I like that.
So... and so that was the really fun, and then we had to add like brake pressures, we had to add O2s and wide bands, it's all the stuff that we didn't have, but it really helped in our diesel market. And what was really cool about the 2 5/8 launch was it also gave us what we remember back in the 50s, the mechanical gauges. So now we have that look for the hot rodders too, so there's a big crossover. And then, again, working with Jason and Ben and Lance Line, they called us up and said, John, all this worked great. They did it in a test vehicle. He says, but you said, you know what? We don't have anything for low temperature because stock eliminatory gauges are freezing their motors. They're doing chillers. So we launched, and we just launched it here at PRI for the first time available to all racers that nobody else has, low temperature water temp gauges, and we have a copy of that, or a piece of it right out on the edge there. So now they have it directly for stock eliminator racing.
Wow. So
bringing that flexibility.
What do we consider low temperatures in racing?
We did it in 40 degrees.
Okay.
So they want to get that as cold as possible. If it's up to that 175, 195, it's too hot for them.
Interesting. That's a really unique need that you guys met.
Well, again, that custom world that we came from, we can do that. And like in my own drag pack car, I have a Dodge drag pack car, and we have a picture of it up there. I added my logo inside of it and a picture of that, so we can bring that to the race cars for the guy that has a little fancier race car.
Sure.
We can customize it as well.
So you still bring that classic instruments customization, even with the modern Pro Touring gauges, right?
Correct.
You can still make a really unique to my car gauge.
Right. And what is exciting to us, we're the only instrument company. We have no finished goods on the shelf. So we're in 8 different countries. We have over 150 dealers, and every gauge is ordered direct, and we guarantee shipping in 48 hours. That means it's manufactured and built in 48 hours. And what that allows us to do, if you like that orange bezel in this gauge, I can put an orange pointer, or I can change the bezel. I can do any of that on the fly. It's not finished and done. So I can customize it very simply for that driver.
In the same way that you've customized the car that it's going into.
Exactly.
Well, that makes a ton of sense.
And then the last piece, what we did is we worked on the packaging. You remember our dads used to have cigar boxes or coffee can. Well, we kind of came up with something because trying to be a little green and, not just throw stuff away. So we developed a package that your gauge comes in that's reusable to throw your parts in and pieces like that. Throw it up on your workbench or something like that, and a little bit of advertising
sure, I think we all have coffee cans for nuts and bolts on our workbench. So
we
that's
just
really
decided
neat.
to kind of do something a little fun.
It's very cool. Is there anything else that you would like people to know about Classic Instruments or maybe the product line?
It's just the fact that that Classic Instruments is more than just hot rod gauges now. It's just the fact that we're doing performance gauges. We'll build anything for anybody. We're very flexible. Everything's made in the USA, and we have people answering our phone, not computers. And it's all on an 800 number for our tech lines and for your ordering. And you can call direct, but we also are dealer based, like with Summit and Jags and things of that nature. Summit's been very good to us, and so it's available through there. But you can always call for tech support or any of that for us.
Great. So it seems like nowadays, no matter what you need, whether it's completely custom, it's something that just looks good in a hot rod, or it's some gauge that maybe you've never even heard of, you guys can take it on.
Yes,
cool.
That's right.
Well, it's been great talking to you, John. Thanks for coming out to the PRI show.
Thanks, Evan. I appreciate your time. Thank you.